What's up, YouTube? Night Edge here again. Got another little quick review for you. Another one that's courtesy of Mr. Eddie. Y'all go check him out on Instagram, Mr. Eddie _411. He's got a lot of really cool knives, and thanks to people like him that get to kind of look at and review such really nice knives like this. This is a Microtech Glykon. You can see it right there. You got the born on date, serial number, Glykon USA at the bottom, Microtech logo. Now this one's pretty neat and really kind of individualized from a lot of the other Microtechs. It's a lot different than a lot of other stuff that they do. One of the main things that kind of sticks out at first, these sidebars right there. Well, I'll definitely get a closer look at that and everything here in a minute. So this one came out just last year, I believe, and this one has also a bayonet grind. You can see right there. So a lot of differences in this one. We'll talk all about them. I'll give you my thoughts on them. Let me go ahead and do the measurements, all that good stuff. Get that out of the way. Get that out of the way here. So overall, you're looking on the Microtech Glykon from the tip of the blade all the way to the end of the handle. It's missing the glass breaker. If you notice, it's missing the traditional. It's got a glass breaker. It's just not like that big nub that Microtech usually has. You're looking at right at 8 7/8 of an inch there on the handle. I'm sorry, on the blade itself. You're looking just under 4 inches, maybe about 3 15/16 if you go all the way back to there. Cutting edge on this, kind of tricky. The way that this one's ground, you got that serrated blade right there. You got about 1.5 inch cutting edge there. You got about 2 1/4 there, and then going on the other side, you're looking at about 1.25 inches of cutting edge there. All right, and then 1.5 inches, just a hair under 1.5 inches there, and that's flatted out with jimping on top. So overall blade length, just under 4 inches. Cutting edge kind of varies, being as it's half serrated, half and half, kind of on both sides. But that's what you're looking at in detail right there, right? This is definitely illegal in a lot of places that would subscribe to the non-OTF automatic knives. It's illegal in places for knives that are over 3.5 inches. So definitely check your local knife laws before buying something like this for sure. Pretty neat symmetrical pattern. That line all the way down the middle looks really neat. Got the little holes punched out in it. Everything seems like it's pretty symmetrical there and pretty uniform. I really like that. Really comfortable jimping on top of that blade too. So anyway, still not through with the specs yet. I'm already talking about fit and finish, so apologize if I'm a little off track here. Alright, so get the calipers out. Thickest part of the blade, you're looking at 130 thousandths right there. 126 thousandths. Behind the edge, cutting edge, goes down to right about 26.5 thousandths. All right. So handle thickness, just over 1/2 inch. Nothing too bad there. And the width of this is 1.08 inches. So, not incredibly large. I wouldn't say a larger size OTF, definitely a full size automatic knife, but nothing crazy. I wouldn't say it's not that's my hand on it right there. So I mean, it's not incredibly large or small either way, I wouldn't say, but it's definitely a full size knife. So go ahead and do some size comparisons here. Do some with some regular folders at first. That's the Paramilitary 2, which a lot of y'all are familiar with, I'm sure. So kind of give you an idea of the size of it. Two totally different, the folders versus that, two totally different types of knives, but give you an idea of the size anyway for size comparison. So that's your Doug Ritter Hogue RSK MK1 and G10. That's your Hogue Deca. So a little bit more edge than both, a little longer than both, especially the Deca. So we'll do some size comparisons with some other OTF knives. Now this, to me, as far as what I've handled, this is the direct delta. This one is the closest that I would say to this one. Now this one seems like it's a little heavier, but the blade on this one is wider. The blade on the Glykon is wider than the blade on the direct delta. But as far as size goes, I mean, they're right there at each other with, you know, blade length. So what else we got? We got the Ultratech. That's a Microtech Ultratech next to it. So you can definitely see a difference. You know, it's definitely a larger OTF for sure. It's not, you know, what I would consider extremely large. You know, it's not, doesn't, you know, a lot of that's due to the fact that, you know, this is missing that glass breaker too, so that cuts back a little bit on the length of it. But it's definitely a full size one for sure, because Ultratech's what I would consider right around a full size OTF. And last but not least, got the UTX 70. It's a Bounty Hunter edition right there. So I can get it to sit right. Maybe, maybe not. So definitely a lot larger than the UTX 70, which is only, you know, 70% the size of an Ultratech in name, right? I'll get out the scale here. I'm thinking this thing weighs, I don't know, it feels like it weighs right at about 4.8, maybe 5 ounces. I haven't weighed it yet, so let's see how close I am. A little over 5.2 ounces. 5.2 ounces. So that's over the ounce and inch ratio. You know, you'll know that it's in your pocket, but not incredibly heavy, you know. Nowhere near the Praetorian or, you know, the Beowulf or something crazy like that. By comparison, that's how much, a little bit more than the direct delta. That one's coming in at 4.4. So this one's definitely a little bit heavier than the direct delta for sure. Now, one of the very first noticeable things about this that's different is, I don't know if Microtech's doing this with all their new generation knives. I've seen them do it, that this is the first Glykon to come out too, but I've seen them do it with the Scarab and the Hera as this pocket clip, right? So you got it's on like a, I don't know, it's a milled titanium pocket clip that sits on that T25 up there, and we'll get all that in the hardware here in just a second. But the way this thing carries, I have no problem with it. I absolutely love this pocket clip a lot more than the regular, you know, the ones that we're used to seeing on Microtech. You know, to me, this thing it's hard to clear that. You know, it's hard to get in your pants. It's grabby. It's not the worst clip ever, but definitely not the best. So this one I absolutely love. Definitely in comparison with that one, it's a great all-around clip. Leaves enough, you know, it's not deep carry. It leaves enough extra where you can grab it and pull it out. Plus, you don't have that glass breaker, right? So this one has no glass breaker. So I kind of made a mistake on that in the beginning. I was thinking of a lot of their new ones, like the Cypher and the new Hera. You know, a lot of the new style Generation 3, I guess it is, they're calling it. 2024 Microtech OTS are going to, you know, kind of eliminate that. A lot like this one. This is a Heretic Knives Manicore X. So this one, you know, still has a glass breaker, but it's just like that little tungsten bead right there. Still effective, but, you know, not nearly as prevalent as something like that, you know. So put that one back up. Look at the hardware, do a hardware check on it, which we can, right? Which is different than the history of Microtech OTFs, because these, you know, you got to get the proprietary bit for it, right? There's nothing there that's common, you know. Same on the Ultratech, same on a lot of the older Microtechs. So get out I believe it's T8, if I remember right. All the body screws. Yep, T8 on the body screws. So you can take this thing apart all the way in. You got T25. Show you that. T25 on that, which is awesome. You know, good size. You don't have to worry about it getting stripped out. You can, this is fully ambidextrous knife, by the way. You can take this apart, you know, take the clip and put it on the other side for left or right-handed carry. You know, it fires left-handed and carries left-handed just as easy as it does right-handed. So that's another good thing about it. Really super smooth, super contoured, jimping all back in here, all around, all the way up to there, which is awesome. The firing switch is a good size, I would say. A little bit fatter than the one on the Ultratech. Makes it a lot smoother and a lot easier. You can put more levers to fire it. Yeah, my thumb will be worn down doing this with the Ultratech by now, right? And I've heard the Scarab is worse, but I, you know, haven't gotten to try that one yet. So a lot of good improvements on this one. The bayonet, this grind, I really like. You can put your thumb up here, you know, so that's a good thing about that. You can kind of choke up a little bit on it, which you haven't been able to really do on a lot of other Microtechs unless they're single edge, but that's a good thing too. Not really a big fan of the serrations, but you know, they do have their usefulness. So that's one thing about it. This retails around $500 or so, maybe just a little bit over, $512, something like that, I think. And periodically go on sale, but not too often, especially with the Glykon. And they have a lot of different handle colors. You know, they're talking about, I believe, doing interchangeable scales, you know, where you can like change that part out. They have some that are green, purple, all kinds of different stuff. This one, the steel on it, I believe, is M390. Yep, M390 right there. No, not a lot of billboard, and that's another great thing. This one in particular has a little grenade on it. I don't know what the story is behind that. Maybe Mr. Eddie can enlighten us on that in the comments if he's watching. But yeah, that's definitely a great knife. This is probably, out of the Microtechs, you know, that I've handled so far, I would say the Direct Delta would be the second to my favorite, and this Glykon definitely takes the cake. Another great thing that I haven't talked about yet, but one of the more obvious things, you know, when you first look at it, you know, change pocket clip, non-proprietary hardware, you know, left or right carry, all great. But one of the greatest things about it to me, aside from the action being super smooth, is this. So you can put your thumb here on this side and your finger here on this side and kind of put the end of it against your hand and pull back. No problem. No problem at all. Now, I wouldn't actuate it like that. It's kind of hard to, you can, you know, it's kind of hard to push it out like that and actuate it. It is possible, but definitely not easy. So where this thing is awesome at, you can also retract it with a thumb switch too. No issues there at all. Just like a regular Microtech, you know, you can just ignore these side pieces here, but that they do work excellently. You know, that's pretty much where it's at is engaging it, you know, opening it up with a thumb switch, finger on this side, thumb on this side, pulling it back. Really super easy. And the action, you know, is awesome on this one. No issues whatsoever there. So I think that's pretty much it. That's the Microtech Glykon. It was new last year. That's the born on date right there, 05 of 23, serial number, Glykon USA. We went over that in the beginning. Great knife, really super duper awesome OTF. Probably my favorite Microtech that I've handled so far. You know, very hard to put down and a really awesome knife. So that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. Comment down in the comments, like the channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I appreciate Mr. Eddie letting me borrow this. Go check him out on Instagram, Mr. Eddie _411. And I will see you guys on the next one.